This podcast is a proud member of the UUOP Network.
Are you ready to go the distance with Tricia's Disney pick? Or will Melinda deliver a Jurassic-sized knockout punch with her universal choice on this episode of Theme Park Throwdown?
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of the Theme Park Throwdown. I am Melinda. I'm at Melinda's Magical Adventures on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm here with my partner,
Tricia. Yeah, Tricia Travels on Facebook and Tricia Travels 85 on Instagram.
with a lovely singing voice, I might add.
That's all you're getting.
Thanks for tuning in for another week, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. Before we jump into this week's Throwdown, we're going to do our typical winner announcement. Begrudgingly, again, we're going to announce the winner of episode 22, which was the bragging rights episode, which was really fun because it was a little different than what we usually do. And we got to just kind of talk about some of the best aspects of each park. So if you haven't listened to that, go and check that out and see what we're talking about. However, the winner was Disney. Again, where are my Universal faithfuls? Where y'all at? You all have gone AWOL.
I honest to God thought I was going to lose that one.
That one was absolutely a toss-up.
I was like,
that one was a big toss-up. I mean, when you're talking about the best aspects of both parks, that's a very difficult decision to make. And I could definitely understand why people would have issues with that. But dang it. Come on, y'all.
I mean,
anyways,
I'm not sad.
Yeah, I'm sure you're doing just fine over there. Anyways, we will move on to new things from the past week. Tricia, what does Disney have for us?
Okay, this is a huge milestone. Disneyland welcomed its 1 billionth guest.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
right. 1 billion people have gone through that gate. So that's pretty exciting. And to increase those numbers, Disneyland has released a limited time discount ticket. From July 12th through August 5th, guests can enter Disneyland at 7 p.m. or DCA at 5 p.m. for $59 a ticket.
Wow.
I honestly think that's pretty amazing. And I know people are like, well, what's the point of that? Because like a lot of the parks in Orlando close at like 10. And I don't feel like they've increased the hours, honestly. I remember it used to close much later than that. But it's pretty standard that Disneyland stays open till like midnight. And DCA usually is open till 10. So
Okay, so you're actually getting a pretty good value there.
yeah, you're getting like a solid 5 hours. I mean, you guys, that's like just over $10 an hour. That's less than going to a movie. So I'm just saying.
It is.
I think it's worth it. But anyway.
we took our kids to see the Minions movie this past weekend. It's not cheap.
Yeah, we may or may not smuggle in our own snacks.
That's where you spend all the money. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta save my money so I can go back to Disney. Come on, folks. We need to have tips for saving money throughout the year so you can go on vacation more.
Not so scary ticket somehow.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, that was not $59. Anyway, so in order to manage the crowds during the recent July 4th holiday, Disney was distributing parking passes for guests with dining reservations and wristbands for resort guests staying at the Polynesian. They also needed to have resort wristbands that said they had access to the waterfront. The reason I'm bringing this up, even though it's after the date, this seems to be the direction that Disney is going in. So if you're not staying at like one of the monorail resorts, it looks like it's going to increasingly become more challenging to visit these resorts, especially during the holidays. So keep that in mind for like Thanksgiving and Christmas through New Year's, when you might see these things happening again. I have to say, kind of an uproar in the Disney community. A lot of people aren't liking the restrictions that they've started putting on the resorts. I understand if you stay at a resort and you are paying an exorbitant amount of money, you want to be able to enjoy the amenities. And that's hard to do if, people are somehow getting into the pools, which I don't know why every resort doesn't do what they do at Yacht and Beach Club with Stormalong Bay, where you get a wristband once they verify that you're actually staying at the resort. I don't understand
Yeah.
why they don't do that. Everything's gated. All the pools are gated.
Right.
And I mean, yes, I'm a culprit. I've never stayed at the Grand Floridian, but I did visit the Gingerbread House once. I've been there to dine. So
But also, how do they expect to attract new guests? You want to at least step
mhm,
foot in the hotel and see what it's like before you drop so much money to stay at one of these deluxe resorts, especially like the Grand Floridian. Like, I want to at least see what I'm getting for that value without just having to like look at a couple of pictures online. It would be nice to be able to visit and see. And I think
yeah,
that's going to be a turnoff for some people.
I think there needs to be a little give and take. Like if you're staying at a resort that's literally a 10-minute monorail from the Magic Kingdom, there's going to be people.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. I
and I
agree.
mean, go ahead.
I just there needs to be a middle ground. I feel like the restrictions that they're putting on right now are a bit too strict. Although
hmm
I don't know of a way to kind of ease up on that while still somehow maintaining some level of crowd control and that sort of thing that they're trying to
Yeah.
achieve. So I don't know, but that's not my job. So I
Well,
will
leave it
say
to
I know
professionals.
they made all these changes, kind of in expectation of having these huge crowds for the 4th of July because there usually are these huge crowds for 4th of July. But did you see the wait times this past couple days for both Disney and Universal? There were none. Like, there
Yeah,
was
it's
no one in the
crazy.
parks. What happened this year? I don't
Already
understand.
scattered. No.
Yes. And I mean, it's usually one of the busiest weeks of the year. And at
hmm
both parks, there were such low and California too, actually. I was looking at Disneyland times as well, and it was crazy. Absolutely insane. There was nobody in the parks. Where was everybody at?
Wonder if people are like horror stories from previous years. People are starting to
Maybe.
avoid holiday times now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Especially like a summer holiday. It's already hot. I don't
right.
know. I had a friend
Yeah,
down
I don't
there.
know. It was just
He's
weird.
so all right, on to less controversial news. Vans has opened a store in Disney Springs, and I really hope that they collaborate with Disney to make some
Oh, yeah.
apparel that perhaps has Star Wars on it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Mm.
Disney
Who would
Vans, hope
want
you're
some
listening.
of
I don't know,
that?
me. And finally, the La Poutinerie quick service kiosk is now open in Epcot. You can find it between Port of Entry and on your way to the Canadian Pavilion. Why am I even mentioning this? Well, I will be in Canada and back by the time you probably hear this. No, actually, I may still be in Canada by the time you listen to this podcast. So I am going to have traditional poutine. And then I plan on tasting this poutine in Epcot to see how close it is to the stuff that's in actual Canada.
Oh,
I'll have to report
nice.
back. Well,
Yeah.
that's all I got for news. How about you?
All right. Universal news. We are still awaiting the drop for Halloween Horror Nights multi night tickets. They should be based on historical data, and when they have dropped in the past, it should be this week or next week. So, everybody, get ready, stay ready, be ready. Registration is now open as of today, which is July 7th, for pass holder nights in August. I believe it's August 15th and 16th. So if you are an annual pass holder, you can now register for one of those specially ticketed after hours events. Look to be really awesome this year. Today, it was announced that on October 3rd and October 17th, they are going to be separately ticketed events at Epic Universe, like an after hours event a la Disney. kind of, where they do their one park after hours events. So these events are going to have lower crowds, special food and drink items that are complimentary with your ticket price, exclusive character meet and greets, different things like that. Tickets start at $179. The event runs from 9 p.m. until midnight, but ticket holders can get in at 7 p.m. so that you can see the Celestial Good Night show and kind of take advantage of some of the things in the park before the park closes to normal day guests. And then you have the time from 9 until midnight just for that select group of ticket holders. So we will see how that goes off. Tickets are on sale for these events starting on August 13th. So get ready for that if that's something that you're interested in. I was really surprised to see something like this be promoted so early on in Epic's age, I guess. But it's great. I think maybe it's their way of testing the kind of open concept of Celestial Park and that sort of idea. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for those of you that get to go. Speaking of Epic Universe, we have Satellite Shakes that opened today, which is a new window selling delicious milkshakes in Celestial Park. This is replacing the mobile pickup window at the Meteor Astro Pub, so they no longer have that option, and now you can just go and get some yummy milkshakes instead. They also have the Celestial Good Night, which premieres tonight. Again, it is July 7th. And so I'm really excited to, I don't know yet if I want to watch footage and videos of it or if I want to wait until I'm there in September to see it. I know you're all about remaining, you're all about remaining spoiler free, but I very much am not. But since it's not going to be very long before I'm there, I'm wondering if maybe I can hold out a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how strong I am. Heading back over to the Legacy Parks, the Spike on Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift is complete. It is massive. And there are some images that are now coming out from outside the Universal Studios Florida gates where you get the Spike and the globe in one picture and you kind of get the new skyline and it looks really awesome. I was a bit apprehensive to see like what this was going to look like because we're so used to seeing Rip Ride Rocket there, and that big of a change in the skyline is a really big deal, and it just looks really cool. So I am very excited to see what's yet to come.
And then that country restaurant's going to come in and mess it all up again.
At least that's on the other side, but still, yeah. Not excited about that part of it, but we been there, talked about that. It is what it is. Now that we've done all that, we can go ahead and jump into this week's Throwdown. We are going to start the Battle of the Ride Queues. We each chose one park to cover on this episode because there are going to be a lot of queues to cover, and we're not going to cover every single ride, just kind of the standouts here. And we're going to discuss the other parks at some time in the future. And when we say ride queue, we are talking specifically about anything you can see. Basically, if you are standing near the attraction sign and like the wait time sign. So anything you can see from there on in, we are considering the queue. So the facade is included in this. We are, however, going to leave out the pre-shows because we would like to do another episode in the future specifically just about pre-shows. So just act like those do not exist in this realm. And Tricia, where are we going to start off with Disney?
Well, I have to start the Magic Kingdom since it's the first park they built.
Naturally.
And when I was thinking about ride queues, I realized this is not the best park to pick. But there are a few things that, after some deep thought, I feel like are unsung heroes.
Okay.
And the first, when we think of like ride queues, we think of potentially the honey wall in the Winnie the Pooh ride where you can touch it and move the honey around. Or the remodeled Darling Children's Nursery in Peter Pan's Flight. But no one ever talks about the true, like, perfect queue in Fantasyland, and that is Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. Okay?
I agree. I love that queue.
Okay, so this opened December 6th of 2012, this current iteration. It replaced 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I think the thing that people miss about this is that it's kind of tucked back way in the corner of Fantasyland. But as you approach it, there is like a ship wreckage with the Little Mermaid as like kind of a person, as the wooden character carved on the front. And as you enter, you're in this kind of like catacomb of, I don't know, sea caves with after like the tide's gone out. So
They
there's
look
a
like
lot of
sand tunnels
shells.
or something.
Yeah. Honestly, this is the closest thing in Disney that reminds me of RIP, kind of mythos when you enter, but and then also a little bit of Poseidon's Fury, kind of
Yes.
like just it kind of gives me those vibes.
The stonework and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of like the whole concept is that you're walking through the remains of a shipwreck, and it's kind of like what's left behind by a civilization.
Yeah.
So there's always something to look at. There's always things that they've just have spent so much time putting detail into the queue, and for me, that helps pass the time when I'm having to wait. Now, to plus this, they have these like magical portholes from parts of the ship or like a old mirror or something. And there's actually like little crabs. You can watch like little animated crabs come out and they like do little hijinks. So that's also kind of fun because that's something that will help pass the time with, especially if you're littles or if you're someone with a little, attention span. I like this queue too because it's almost entirely shaded. It might not be fully
Yes, I was going to
indoor,
say that.
but it is shaded. So
Yeah.
I think that is something that is a huge plus, especially when it's hot out. Now, this is not a pre-show because it's in the queue. There is an animatronic Scuttle who kind
I
of
love
talks
him.
to you. He reminds me a little bit of the old donkey in is it Studios? Yeah, where he would like cat call you. I got
Stick
cat
his
called
head
by
out
that
the
donkey too.
window and
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah,
He
he's
was
great.
he's not very polite to women. I'm just going to say that. He was always, hey you.
It's a little vulgar.
Hey you. Hey you with the ice cream. Come over here.
Yeah.
He's yelling at me because we were eating ice cream and I was just like totally oblivious. And then my husband was like, I think Donkey's trying to get your attention. And I turned around and he's like, yeah, you. And I just waved and I walked away. And he was just like, he had more comments about me just walking away. And it was funny. I miss that. So
Yeah.
anyway, Scuttle, like he kind of tells some dad jokes. It's kind of humorous. So I think that is pretty awesome. But the coolest thing, all right, there is a hidden Mickey that appears once a year on Mickey's birthday, November 18th. Okay. And the reason it only appears once a year is because of how the rocks were designed. And when the angle of the sun hits a certain area of the way the rocks are displayed, it casts a shadow that shows you Mickey's head. I'm sorry, but that is like the penultimate of coolness in anything, but especially a queue.
Coolness or nerdiness? Or maybe a little both.
But
It is pretty cool. I have heard about that before. Okay, but how crazy must that queue get on that one day at that one tower, that one time, that 1 hour? It must be insane.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories from people who have attempted and it's just so crowded. And I feel bad for the people who have no clue what's going on. And they're like, why is the queue for Little Mermaid?
I just want to see Ariel. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that kind of stuff in theme parks that makes me an addict. I'll just be fair.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, just that goofy little stuff that like seems so stupid and so silly, but it keeps things interesting.
So my second one, I think, is a little more talked about, and we're not straying too far from Little Mermaid. We're headed over to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and this family coaster opened May 28th, 2014. They reused some of the animatronics from Snow White's Scary Adventures, which was a dark ride, and it replaced part of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the original Ariel's Grotto, And Pooh's playful spot, which I want to clarify is a playground. Yeah, I know. Childish
Yeah,
giggles.
let's not go there.
So the fact that 20,000 Leagues was a massive space that it could fill like multiple attractions, I think that they use the space wisely to put more attractions in there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about the attraction itself. I know it's short and people have complaints about that. I know the line can be long. However, when you're at that facade, it looks like the sign with the wait time is like carved wood, like you would see from the movie, and how the dwarves would like use decorative
Well
little
done.
wooden animals and stuff. It very much ties to the movie. Once again, not the full queue is indoors, but it is heavily covered either with like man-made structure or trees.
Yeah.
You honestly feel like you're kind of in the woods. The other thing I like about this queue is that there are switchbacks, but because of how it's designed, it's not like a cattle call where you're like back and forth and you see people all around you for the majority of it. There's
Yeah.
like rocks or like trees or something that is blocking your view from having to stare at somebody, facing the other direction, which can be
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, I feel like, when you're in close quarters. There are some windows of space where you can kind of catch glimpses of the attraction as it whizzes by. So that's kind of fun if you have to wait. And then there's some interactive elements as well. So the first one you'll come across is a screen game. You kind of look down on it and you move this cart back and forth and you're trying to catch gems in the cart. So it's just kind of an activity. You can do it on both sides. So I would say the one thing to be aware of is that sometimes people get so engrossed in the game, they hold up the line. So don't be one of those people. After that, you come to a water feature. It's like a little water pump, and it's kind of for those who have experienced Moana's like journey of water. It's like a hand sensor where like you move under it and water will fall. I think it's fun for like kids. It might feel good on a hot day. You're not going to get drenched, not like you're on a water ride, but it just is kind of a cute little thing. I think it adds a level of dynamic movement to the queue. Maybe it'll help make you
Yeah.
feel like you're moving along a little faster. Once you pass through the vault, which gets you actually more inside of the actual structure, there's these large barrels of gems and they spin. So if you spin them fast enough and look at the ceiling, they'll form like a really short video
Oh,
of the different dwarves like moving. Um, you have
I
to spin
never
it
noticed
fast
that.
enough. Yeah.
Okay.
So I recommend if you get a chance, do that. That's a quick thing that won't clog the line. And then, once you're kind of in that area, there's a little more AC because you're in an actual building and you're pretty close to the attraction at that point. So it's not much of a wait after that. It's easy enough to see like the loading area. And I don't know about you, but I enjoy watching people load into attractions. It's like some of the best people watching sometimes.
Yeah. It's
So
entertaining for sure.
all right. My last cue, I'm going to leave Fantasyland and I am going to walk across the back of the park because I don't want to walk all the way around to the front to get myself into Liberty Square, which is where, of course, one of the classics, the Haunted Mansion, is located.
Yeah.
And this was opened October 1st, 1971. And the queue was updated in March of 2011 to include interactive components. Now, the the full queue isn't typically open unless it's really busy, or they get a line that comes pretty far out into like the general walking area. But when the queue is fully open, I think the entire experience adds to the storyline.
Yeah.
And I mean, your excitement rises when you see those wrought iron gates and with the time, and in the distance, you can see the mansion kind of like up on a hill. I
Yeah.
think
And
that's
all the
pretty
headstones and
iconic.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And those are one of the first things you do see. And they're a lot of fun to like read.
They are.
Um, I feel like every time I go in there, I read a different headstone or like I catch what I didn't see before. Now, I know I'm going to get burned for this. Sadly, due to the fact that Rivers of America has been drained and is now walled as they prepare for Piston Peak for Cars Land, you're walking past boards on one side,
Yeah.
whereas you used to get a really nice view of the river. So that's unfortunate for right now. And I'll be curious to see what they decide to do because Disney historically has been a lot about sight lines and,
Right.
not wanting to cross like different types of themes. But it'll be interesting to see what
That's
they
going to be
do.
difficult
Yeah.
to keep those separate.
Maybe it'll be like a junkyard and it'll be like a Cars cemetery. That'd be hilarious, actually. Disney do that.
Oh my gosh. The mater driving around.
It's happier they're turning on a trail park. Anyway, but once you get past like that initial area, there is a large mausoleum. I'm not sure what you would call it, but it has like instruments on the side that are kind of three-dimensional. And when you touch them, they play the different sounds of those instruments. And again, people bring hand sanitizer because like everybody touches.
I was just going to say, you're talking about all this stuff you can touch in line, and I'm just like, don't touch it.
See, this was me. I'd be like Elf when he's in the elevator. I'd be like, whoa.
I'm not a germaphobe by any means, like at all, but theme park germs are a whole different ballgame.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I think I must have an incredible immune system, knock on wood,
Oh, mine's
because
crap.
I have never gotten sick coming back from a trip to Disney. I do wash
every
my hands.
time. Every time.
I'm really careful not to like touch my face and stuff when I'm at the parks. And like if I see a kid digging in their nose and they touch something, I'm like, nope, that's off limits.
Yeah.
But I feel like I get sick way more frequently at home. So I don't know if it's just my sheer
It's
will
the
that I won't
exact
get sick.
opposite for me. I hardly ever get sick at home, and I have 2 autoimmune disorders. So like my immune system is terrible. But I hardly ever get sick at home, but it is without fail every time I go. And then my my mom and my husband are always like, "You're not allowed to go anywhere ever again." I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's see you try to stop me. Hi, Mom. I know you're listening.
Well, once you're done touching the instruments, you can continue on your way and touch more stuff, okay? This is really cool. There's a spooky pipe organ. It's got little skulls kind of like in an art. And when you play on the keyboard, it actually plays the different notes. It's not like a full-on like pipe organ, but it looks like that.
Yeah.
So again, lots of touching. Clearly I was that kid that was like I like touch buttons.
Must touch
That's
it.
why
Yeah.
I think that's why I relate to Grogu so well. He likes to touch buttons in the Razor Crest ship that he flies on The Mandalorian. So anyway, once again, there is a small water related feature in here. There is a statue of the captain, and it has little fountains that shoot water and like little bubbles that come out of it. I think my favorite part about this is sometimes he sneezes, and when he sneezes, like water shoots up from the top where he's buried. And I think that is a great testament to the whimsy that you can find within the Haunted Mansion. So I like that. And if you're not done touching things, there is a magical book library and books pop out. And if you push one in, another one pops out like somewhere else on a shelf. And so it's
That's
kind of like
cool.
whack-a-mole. So you're trying to
Yeah.
like push all.
It's been so long since I have done this ride without having a lightning lane. And with the lightning lane, you pass all of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
It's just
it's like you're reminding me of all this cool stuff that I haven't gotten to experience in so long, and I need to.
Well, we're not done yet. I have
I know.
2 more pieces of information. All right.
Some big
The
ones.
last thing that you typically see, there's a book of poems that like magically writes itself, and you could hear a narrator kind of like talking the poem out or like reading the poem. So that's kind of cool to see. But one thing for those of you who have any interest in doing a Halloween party, which the tickets are on sale, some dates have sold out. Everyone flocks to the Haunted Mansion. It is worth going to for the Halloween party. And the reason I say this is shortly before you enter the building, there is another small area of headstones, and there is a live actor who interacts with guests only during the Halloween parties.
Oh,
And
cool.
yes, I had the pleasure of interacting with Madame Carlotta during one of these parties. And I intend to go back and ride the attraction again this year.
Yeah.
Now, the thing to note, her headstone is one of the headstones back there. So
I was going to
she
say the
looks
name sounds
like,
familiar.
yeah, her character is very ghostly. She looks a lot like the bride kind of in the attic.
Okay.
So it's the spirit of her has come back out of the grave and is like interacting with the guests. She was a
Okay.
very proper Southern belle, very very pleasant to speak with. So she's not one of the scary haunts that you have to worry about until you're more into the actual attraction.
Okay.
But rumor has it there are a few other headstones there, and they will like rotate characters based on the
Oh.
other names. So I'm hoping when I go back this year, that maybe I'll see a different character. We'll
Yeah.
see. Otherwise, I would gladly interact with Madame Colada again. So
That's so cool.
those are
I
my
did
3
see
cues.
today that they were having some technical issues and you were having to bypass the stretching room. The stretching room wasn't
Mm.
working. So
Oh
hopefully that is not
no.
a big issue that takes some time to repair because I know that's a lot of people's favorite part of that ride.
Yeah.
That's certainly where you get the most quotes from and things like that. So hopefully that gets back up
Mhm.
and running very shortly.
Well, I mean, it is an old attraction, and for those who don't
Yes.
know, I'm a dietitian by trade, and so I know a lot about human aging, and you lose elasticity in your muscles. So I'm pretty sure I'm not surprised its stretching capabilities have been impacted.
Are a bit hindered.
I'm there.
Old
I
girl
feel
needs
it.
some work. Yeah, me too.
Anyway,
No kidding.
all right, Melinda, what do you got?
All right. So I also am going to cover the first park open. So we are going to head to Universal Studios Florida and we're going to talk about my favorite slash, in my opinion, the best queues in that park. I'm going to go clockwise starting at the entrance of the park. And so you're going to head down Illuminations Avenue and into the New York area. And the first ride I'm going to talk about, the ride is not super thrilling. The ride is nothing to write home about. But the queue for Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon is great. On the lower level where you first enter, you're going to see a ton of memorabilia, old costumes, old props from different hosts and things that have survived the many, many years of The Tonight Show on NBC. And then you will head up this beautiful staircase to the upper level where the fun really starts. This is where you'll be waiting for your color card to be called if there are enough people in line for them to have to do that. Normally now it's just one big line. But you are going to find a bunch of comfy seating areas with couches and loungers and things like that, interactive games. There's also, if you head to the very back, the biggest thing is a full stage where the Ragtime Gals Barbershop Quartet would come out and do full on performances that were so much fun. I will admit, I have not ridden this ride in probably 5 or 6 years. And so I can't even tell you honestly, it's probably been 5. It's been 5. Um,
Wow.
I can't even tell you if the Ragtime Gals come out anymore and if they do, how often they do. But they were so much fun. They were really interactive with the crowd and put on like a full on show. And it was so fun to watch. You can also catch hashtag the panda kind of roaming around the line every once in a while. And then they also have areas where they just have TVs that are playing different clips and scenes from The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So a queue that you can have a lot of fun in if you so happen to have to spend a few minutes in it, which for the most part now you don't. And maybe that's why they They don't have these things very often anymore because there's not really anybody that's waiting there to have to entertain, but was something that used to exist. So I wanted to mention it because it was a really neat thing.
Okay.
So,
So, quick story on this.
yes.
Every time we've gone, and we go every trip, my daughter
Okay.
has to go on this ride. Okay.
Okay.
She's seen like clips from Jimmy Fallon, but has never seen like an actual like full length episode. But she is obsessed with pandas. But my husband traveled to New York a few times for work, and he actually got to go to the actual studio, and they
Oh,
had
cool.
this was
It
like
looks
10
identical,
years
by the
ago.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. And he can confirm that. But this was like a decade ago. So she was like 2 years old. And he went to the Jimmy Fallon store because at that point, hashtag the panda had existed and was like in his heyday. And
Yeah.
so he brought this little hashtag home, and you pushed his paw and it did like the da 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 da, or like when he comes out and he's all like kind of
Yeah.
my dog. This thing now is like dirt.
Oh.
Like it is dying and
Yeah.
stuff. But she brought this little panda with her the first time that we went to Universal because we told her about the ride and
Aw.
that you might see hashtag, and we did. And so now it's like the child version of gambling. Every time we go, she has to see
Yeah.
if she can see hashtag.
Oh,
So,
that's cool though. That's a fun thing to
yeah,
look forward
so
to every trip. I was lucky enough. I was in Universal when this ride opened, the week that it opened. So Jimmy Fallon was in the parks. He did a couple of live shows that you
wow.
could get tickets to. So my husband and I went and saw one of the tapings of his shows, which was on one of the sound stages behind the park. And they did a concert that night. He had like Blake Shelton and Pitbull and a bunch of other artists. It was really fun. And then, of course, they did a bunch of stuff to like celebrate the opening of the ride. So that was really neat. And I have some
Aw.
really fond memories of that. So I think it's everything else besides the ride that I like about. And I don't hate the ride. It's just, I don't know. It's not great. That is that ride. Then
I
we
will say,
go ahead.
if you the pre-show, which I know we'll talk about at a later time, but
Yes.
that's one of our favorite pre-shows. And
I so wanted to include that in here because it is awesome. It's so great,
yeah.
but I'll save it.
You will hear my voice on another podcast at some point because they were collecting people's renditions
ride quotes.
of yes, and my daughter and I, we perfected it. So
Okay. Good to know. Looking forward to that. I can't wait till so she's talking about, if those of you that haven't caught on, the UUOP did a listener submission request for ride quotes, and we have yet to hear them, but I know they're coming soon, and I'm very excited to hear what they are. I did send in a couple as well, so we shall see.
let me just say, I make a really good Gary.
I make a not so good Gru. I'll say that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Anyways, we are going to continue clockwise through the park, and we are going to go to Revenge of the Mummy. This queue starts off with a bang before you even enter the building with the Egyptian stilt walkers that are in front. And these team members, these performers are fantastic. They, without speaking, because they do not speak to you, just with a look, are incredible and communicate so much. And they pose in these really cool different formations and stuff like that for pictures. I have even one time I was exiting the ride. I was coming out of Sahara Traders, which is the gift shop for the ride. And one of the stilt walkers was hiding around the corner and jumped out at me. And the scream that I scrumped when when he jumped right in front of me. And I'm very short. And so to have a normal height man jump out at me is going to scare the crap out of me. But to have one on stilts in a full Egyptian headdress and bare chest jump out at me, it was quite the fright. But they are awesome. They are there quite often. You can see them a lot. So they're really fun to interact with, and you shouldn't pass them up. But as you enter the building, you'll see movie clips talking about the ride and the movie and how the stories interact and things like that. And then you're going to walk through a series of super dark, eerie tunnels. The lighting effects are fantastic. You've got this kind of like, it's continuously dimming and brightening and flickering. You've got this sound, I don't want to call it a soundtrack, but just this kind of low hum of music that is very eerie and ominous. And when you put all of these aspects together and you're going through these dark tunnels, that there are some areas where it's really hard to see. Like, I don't have the greatest eyesight, but it's difficult. But it just builds excitement for the ride. You're going to see a lot of Egyptian artifacts and different statues and things like that. And everything just kind of adds to the creep factor and to the excitement of what you're going to see on the ride. Years ago, they used to hide scare actors in the line for this ride. And I can only imagine the Karens that came out in opposition of this and complaining about how their little children were scared. So I understand why they don't anymore, but I do wish that I had been able to experience that. And I wish that there were times that we could do it now. Like, it would be really cool if they would do that now during horror nights.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome, because this is one of the rides that's open during Halloween Horror Nights. So how cool would it be if they had Egyptian dressed scare actors in the queue during Horror Nights?
I feel like that would be appropriate too.
Missed opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like people, that actually probably be the least scary thing.
Right. Speaking of rides that are open during Horror Nights, we are going to head next to Diagon Alley and Gringotts Bank. This is this park's time to shine when it comes to ride queues. You knew this was coming. Yeah. First of all, the facade of the building with the fire-breathing Ukrainian Iron Belly. She is at the forefront of this land. She is what everybody stops to take pictures of. Everybody is standing in that walkway with their phones up, waiting for that fire to come so that they can get the perfect shot. I have been guilty of this in the past, for sure, but it's just incredible. And then once you enter the line and you enter the lobby of the bank, you see this gorgeous chandelier and these hyper-realistic animatronic goblins that are the tellers at the bank. You've got the main one at the front on this big podium. The tile work is beautiful. There is an outdoor portion to this queue as well, like an extended queue portion that is really pretty outside as well, but you're really just not going to, they don't have a need for that anymore, which I guess is a good and a bad thing, because then you're not getting to see those spaces, but you don't have to wait in a super long queue. Once you exit that bank lobby that is so beautiful and so detailed, you are going to board elevators that are operated by trolls. And although you are not actually moving anywhere, these are not real elevators, you are not actually moving floors. The effects that they have in here, where the floor bounces up and down and the walls move, and you have this kind of like video playing of the trolls manually pulling the elevator up and down. It's almost like a mini ride in itself. And that is so cool. So then you will head to a series of like these underground tunnels where you're going to pick up your 3D glasses and then board your ride vehicles. But this is definitely one of the most immersive, impressive queues, I think, of all of Universal's rides.
Yeah.
All of the Harry Potter rides are going to have incredible queues. That's just what they do. I don't know if that was like written into the contract with J.K. Rowling when they when they got the rights to produce these areas of the park, but it's so impressive. And I feel like each one that opens now, every time we get a new Harry Potter ride that opens, the queues get more and more and more impressive and more exciting. So,
oh my gosh, yes. The
yeah,
Ministry of
wait till we talk
Magic.
about wait till we talk about Epic Universe queues and I get to drop that
I
one on you.
Yeah, if you don't win that one, I'm gonna vote for Universal anyway. Like, I've got no chance.
The last queue I'm going to talk about is my favorite ride of all the Universal rides, of all the Universal parks, and this is the ET Adventure. First off, you can't talk about this ride or this queue without mentioning the smell. It's
Mm.
woodsy, it's piney, it's musty. Some people say it's moldy. I don't care. It's To me, it's home. It is my signal that, like, hey, you are now in Universal Studios. You are in your favorite place. And you can smell it within like 75 yards of the building. The smell just emanates out of the queue. And I think that's probably what this ride is most known for, or one of the things that this ride is most known for
Oh,
is
yeah.
that smell. The queue itself takes you into the forest. You encounter ET's teacher Botanicus, different animatronics. You've got the big spaceship that ET is on. You have other different props and things like that from the movie, like the speak and spell and the umbrella. There's lots of fog and lighting effects. You do feel like you are running through the forest. You can hear different sounds of like the search party searching for ET in the background and the different noises that may be coming from ET's ship. It's very immersive. It's very well themed, even though you're standing in a line and you haven't even gotten to the ride yet. At some areas, you can even feel like the mist in the air because you're in the forest. So this queue
Mhm.
hits all five senses.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is the place where I could just spend an hour just walking around, looking at different things, trying to find different artifacts and things like that, and be perfectly happy without even getting on the ride. Lastly, just as a general note, especially for queues in Universal Studios, you need to try out some of the queue tours that are available. They are only available if team members have the flexibility to give them. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but you can take guided tours through the queues. You can learn like different fun and interesting facts and new information about the rides, the stories behind the rides, the stories behind the movies that the rides were based on. Some of the tours that you can do, we've got the studio tour at Jimmy Fallon, the production tour at Revenge of the Mummy. And if you get a really good guide, you can actually go underneath the tracks of the ride while the ride is running and see how everything works. I still have yet
That's
to
so
do
cool.
this. Hopefully, we'll get to do it on our trip in September. I'm really hoping that's something that we can get done. You can take the immigration tour at Men in Black, where you can go down to the immigration floor where the desks are and those aliens are sitting, and sit at the desk and take some really cool pictures and have that experience. You can take the forest tour at ET, where they'll take you through and tell you different facts and lots of fun information. So just ask the team members at the entrance to the queue to see if anybody is available to give these tours. Like I said, I've tried several times in the past to get both the forest tour and the production tour at the Mummy, and I have yet to be able to actually do it. But hopefully, sometime in the future, we'll get there. And it's just a fun little thing they do. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just depends on if they have enough team members and if they have a team member that's well trained enough in the history of that ride to be able to give those tours. So try it out.
Yeah. I think, like, all right, as a Disney fan, I'm just gonna say, I think that the Harry Potter queue alone is enough, and the fact that they have those tour options, like,
Yeah,
that's just cool. Like,
it is.
I
Yeah.
mean, nothing like that exists. And again, it goes to show the detail that they put in, like, golly, I really
Yeah.
appreciate people who make park attractions at these parks.
I agree. All hail Imagineers and the creative team at Universal. But yeah, it is cool to get tours like that and stuff because that's the information that I geek out over. Those like little known facts and the Easter eggs and things that are hidden and
Yeah.
most people don't know. And so that's one reason why I advocate so hard for doing VIP tours at the parks, because then it's just a whole day full of that. And it's so
Yeah.
awesome and so much fun. But obviously they come with a cost. Whereas things like this,
It's true.
yeah, it's not going to be all day. Yeah, you're not going to get extra special access to, the front of the line for the ride, but you're going to get some really cool knowledge that a lot of other people don't have and don't get. But I think that's all we got for this week, you guys.
I think that was a lot of really great information. And I hope, if nothing else, it'll get people kind of paying more attention in the queue line instead of thinking about how much longer do I have to wait.
Yeah, you don't just have to stand there staring at your phones. Take a look around you, experience everything that these team members and cast members have put so much work into, and appreciate it for what it is. Because there are some really cool things that you can find.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm sure you.
All right, so we want to hear from you. Who do you think won this week's battle? Vote in the Who Won weekly poll. Yeah, I know. I have a premonition, and it's not going to be me. We are at Theme Park Throwdown on Instagram and Facebook, and you can also watch video recordings of our episodes on YouTube. That's it for this Throwdown. See you next week in the ring.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's battle. Now it's time to let us know what you think. Vote in our Who Won weekly poll on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Theme Park Throwdown everywhere. You can also watch video recordings of all of our episodes on our YouTube channel. Just search Theme Park Throwdown. If you're planning your next vacation, we're here to help. Go to portkeyvacations.com and fill out a quote request form, and be sure to request either Melinda or Tricia to be your advisor. Finally, make sure you check out our family of podcasts on the UUOP network. The Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, the Taste of Universal podcast, the Unofficial Universal Great Britain podcast, the Portkey Passport, a Disney podcast for adults, the Theme Park Duo for your West Coast parks, Rush of Fear, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, and Big Dumb Stuff for all your pop culture comedy. You can also check out our network partner, The Fudge Factor, on YouTube for all their park vlogs. That's it for this Throwdown, guys. We'll see you next week in the ring.